gonna go ahead and record. All right. Omi Tutu, Ona Tutu, Ile Tutu, Tutu Igungun. We give thanks and praises for all of our collective ancestors being in the midst of this space. We ask for them to continue to walk with us, continue to guide us, let your presence be known, continue to reveal yourselves to us. Help us to bring this information to the people, help the people to receive this information. We ask for your continual guidance. We ask for you to open our intuitions even more. Give us supreme confidence as we move about our day and our life. Continue to protect us. Continue to help us with the repair work of our family lineages as we continue to move about our day in this space, in this time. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe, y'all. So before we even get started, the majority of you all understand that we are currently students of Orisha worship, the Yoruba culture. And so as we continue to grow in that culture, we get additional information. We learn more. When we learn more, we pass on what we can to you all. And let me put this back on the altar. Leave it right there. We pass what we can on to you all. And as we continue to move forward, we're going to continually update the classes to give you more traditional version of the practices of the indigenous and the African people. Okay. Today we are talking about, this is ancestral reverence. This is the second level of the Etheric Touch program. Today we talk about setting up your ancestral space.
Okay, you want me to read? Or?
Yeah, you said you were going to.
Okay, I got it.
Thank you.
Okay, so the movie Coco, like, how many have seen it?
Put it in
the chat. A lot of us have seen it. You seen it, Ayodele? I know Ayodele's seen it. Okay, but it says the movie Banny. It says the movie is a great example of the importance of ancestral homage. It shows how the ancestors will assist you in understanding who you are while guiding you along your journey. It also shows the consequences of how not honoring your ancestors weaken them and eventually they are forgotten. Lastly, it shows how important it is to set up space for your lineage. So this is what this movie is based around. Like when y'all see this, those of us that have saw that movie, what was it? His grandfather was in jeopardy of being forgotten. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors want to be remembered. Like this is the importance of, the journey that we are on, of learning more about our ancestors' stories and how all of y'all are coming back with, a lot of y'all are getting to know about ancestors that you might didn't know about, you know what I mean, previously, but you are getting these names, you are getting these pictures of ancestors that have made their way to you because they want to be remembered. Everybody is not about this work in our particular families, y'all. Everybody is not about this, but we have been chosen to do this work. And how we've been speaking about, like, we all know, like, that the ancestors are real. Like, we know that from the very point that we are sitting here with our life and our existence right now. Thank you, ancestors, because we are only an extension of those that came before us. Our ancestors dwell within us. They are real. Every other culture on earth acknowledges their ancestors in some kind of way. Our culture was took, like that was taken away from us. And we was given other people to elevate and call on their names. And we didn't said it before, like in school, they're giving us, what's that?
Peace, Jamar.
Peace, Jamar.
Hey.
Peace. Oh, like, peace, brother. Peace. Good to see you. Peace. Peace. You right on time. You right on time. You right on time. Yeah. And so, like, even with our culture being took and they replacing our culture with this foreign culture, then we was taught to call on their ancestors' name. They taught us this in school, like with the Abraham Lincoln or George Washington or whatever names that it was in the curriculum for us to learn about. Like everyone elevates their ancestors in some kind of way. And so this is what we have to get back into. We have to get back into elevating our own ancestors, because when we are calling on other people's ancestors, we are strengthening them and we are empowering them. And then we trying to figure out why we can't break free out of this system. We're trying to figure out why we can't break free out of this system, because our ancestors are remaining not in power while we are empowering other people's ancestors. We got to get out of that. All of the great people, all of the heroes and sheroes that are within our lineage, within our heritage, that we should be speaking about and remembering and calling upon their names and speaking and talking about their stories, which will empower them, which would then in fact will empower us, because it's going to give us things like self-confidence. It's going to let us know what we can really do and what we can really accomplish, and that which lives within us, not someone else. And this is why this is very important. And I think the movie Coco did a great job on the importance of why that altar got to be set up, why you got to bring them their foods, why you got to bring them their offerings. And we get more into that as we go through the slideshow.
Yes.
But I just want to, you know, speak on the.
Coco was an amazing movie. It was an amazing in the sense like even children can understand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It was for children. And so, especially for us who are trying to teach our children our ways, Coco was a phenomenal movie for them to understand. It made it simple, it made it easy. And then I remember when Coco came out, a little while later, I spoke to my sister and she said, Dag, I finally get it because of Coco.
Right.
I finally get
woman,
what you're doing. Yeah, she, you know, 3 years younger than I am. I finally get it because of Coco.
Right.
So Coco was just that, you know, phenomenal type of movie. And now what we are seeing is that more and more movies are showing ancestral reverence.
Right.
Ancestral reverence. I just want to read y'all something really quickly. From time immemorial, thank you. From time immemorial, the mystery or the whereabouts of the spirits of the dead have intrigued the minds of the living. Nearly every people of the ancient world, with perhaps the exception of the Israelites, held regular ceremonies of contact with the physically deceased. The basis of the ceremonies of this nature derives from the conclusion that though the physical body may weaken and cease, there is a spiritual motivating energy which departs from it and continues to live on.
And this is what we have to know in our own personal life. Like, we are not just flesh and bone. It's an energy that animates us. It's a spirit that gives us life. Like, it's a consciousness. It's a self-awareness that dwells within us all. Like, and I always mention this, like, this is what dreams show us, that it's something beyond the physical. Like, when we go into the dream world, we truly go into the dream world. Like, no matter where your body is laying on the bed or on the couch, your TV can be going, you ain't conscious of any of that. But what you are conscious of, you can come back and tell me everything that happened in your dream, even though you don't know nothing that was happening around you when you was in that sleep state. The soul lives on beyond the body. This is what we have to understand. And so, like, when our ancestors, you know, like, or when we leave this body, like, that's not the end. Like, that is the beginning. Like, we still exist. Like, we are still going to be able to say, I am. And this is what we have to know, that the journey doesn't stop with that transition. We just enter into a different space, which is only mirroring the space that we're in now. Like, when we understand the science of duality.
I think it's really also important to note that in this what do they call excerpt? Yes, in this excerpt, it speaks about how all ancient cultures except for the Israelites. So when we talk about the Israelites, we're talking about how Christianity pulled us away from our culture. You know what I'm saying? But then all ancient cultures throughout the world practice the reverence of their ancestors, and this is what we are getting back to.
And so when you say ancient cultures, you're only talking about one people, because we're the only ancient race on this planet. Like, this is an ancient practice that was practiced all over the world. This is our way. This is what was stolen from us. If somebody steals something for you and you know where it's at, like, you go get it. You go get what's yours. So this is about us going and taking back what is ours.
Ashe. Ashe. Some disembodied spirits may be continually contacted by living persons who are concerned about maintaining a relationship which was of importance to them during the physical life of the now deceased. And
so if a relationship was important to you while the person was in the body, like, the relationship should be just as important you know, like when they exit the body,
Mm-hmm.
it should be just as important. You should still want to keep that bond. Like when grandma leave, you know what I mean, the physical, we don't have to let grandma go. Mm-mm. Or anyone. Like we don't have to let them go. Like it's for us to understand that we can continue these relationships. Mm-hmm. But this is a way that we have been misinformed. Like when we think like after the burial and all of this, like we think that, okay, like you know, like it's over. Mm-hmm. Like it's over. But this is, you know, a correction that we have to make in our thinking, because we got to think like our African ancestors. Like we got to get the African mind back. That's what was taken away from us. Mm-hmm. It's the African mind. Mm-hmm. We have truly lost our minds, and we have to get them back.
Kind of like an amnesia.
Or amnesia, however you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Thus, various techniques devised to bridge the gap between the embodied and the disembodied humans were developed. Among the techniques are mediumship, divination, and clairvoyance. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to make sure that I said as we start into the ancestral sacred space is understanding how important your intuition is, mm-hmm. how important it is to trust yourself, how important it is to be guided by your own personal spirits. Sure. You know, your ancestors are going to guide you. This is less about, even though we're going to give you the guidelines, we're going to set you up for the alley-oop. But how you get that alley-oop and shoot the ball into the hoop is up to you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? As we move further into our ancestral reverence, it is important for you to start really trusting yourself.
Right.
It's important for you to trust the messages, the dreams,
trust how you
however you feel.
Trust how you feel.
Like I said, and here we go. All class, I'm going to have nothing but chill bumps because our people like, yo, you better let them know. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to, like, this is the part of the course. When we started in level 1 and we were talking about meditation and we were talking about sound harmonics, we were talking about Qigong, it was so that it can awaken the sensitivity within you.
Yeah, and ourselves on a cellular level as well.
We are awakening your intuition. We are awakening your spiritual self. You know what I'm saying? And so now as we move into ancestral reverence, it is time for you to start trusting yourself and the messages that your ancestors are bringing to you.
Right.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Mm-hmm. All right. Go ahead.
Okay, you finished with that
right now?
Okay, it says,
hey, brother and sister.
Peace, brother.
Peace.
I just wanted to throw one thing out there as to how Judeo-Christianity has tried to separate us from our true selves and our true original understanding of what we are. If you look at Ecclesiastes 9:5, it'll give you insight as to how they've gone about deconstructing that relationship. In Ecclesiastes 9:5, I don't know if you all have access to it right now.
I can get it.
Hold on, let me grab my Bible off the altar.
That's right.
Keep one up there. Oh, is it up?
Over here.
Okay. My glasses as well.
You said Ecclesiastes
9:5. Yeah,
9:5.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know if you're gonna be able to see this with your glasses on. It's so little.
Do you got access to it, bro?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, go ahead and read it.
Yes.
Ecclesiastes 9:5 states, "For the living know that they will die, but the dead know nothing. They have no further reward, and even their memory of them shall be forgotten."
What?
Ecclesiastes 9:5.
That's crazy. Now listen.
That's purposeful and strategic.
Purposeful and strategic. How can that not be? Like that goes against everything that it means to be indigenous to this planet.
Absolutely.
Like, to not remember those that have, to not remember the dead.
And they got reward.
Right. No.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
No, that's what, that just took me because, one of the things that we try to ensure as we're teaching is that you understand how it's been purposefully taken from us.
Yes,
our culture has been purposefully taken from us. Our ways, our practices, our traditions, our religious beliefs, our spirituality has been purposely taken from us. So the brother who and I know that was Jamar, the brother who just spoke on that, when he says is like, it's been purposeful, what do we always run back to? As a people, what do we always run back to? What the Bible says, and if you happen upon that, then you think it's evil.
Yes, and this is why they think it's evil. Like my people in my family, like, yo, what you do, worship dead people? Like the Christians in my family, like, they just don't get it. You know what I mean? But I was just getting ready to say something that was adding on to what Brother Jamar was saying.
Bring it back.
Hopefully they come back.
Did you read this?
Okay, it says every home needs a foundation. Without a foundation, the home is shaky, unstable, and will crumble at the slightest adversity. If a storm comes, a home lacking the stability it needs to stay firmly rooted is easily overtaken and destroyed. If you build a house on sand, how long will the house remain in place? How long will it be before it sinks and swallowed by the ground itself? The importance of a foundation is paramount for building a home that is not only successful, but also possesses longevity. Our ancestors are our foundation. It is because of their blood, sweat, tears, and sacrifices we are who we are today. And like, yo, just think about that. Like, someone was building with me or speaking about over the weekend about remembering all of the work, all of
the
sacrifices that those before us put in order for us to live the way that we are able to live today.
We so spoiled.
Just think about the work that was put in, you know what I mean? Or the foundation that was laid in order for us to have the freedom that we get to, you know what I mean, enjoy. You know what I mean? These freedoms that we get to enjoy, that wasn't given to us. Like, that came from soldiers. That came from sacrifices being made. That came from work being put in. That came from a foundation, once again, being built. And so just, how can we not honor that? Like, how can we not honor that when we got the liberties that we do have at this point in our life? Like, how can we not honor the ones that died for that? Or the ones that are locked, that spent all of their life in prison for that? You know what I'm saying?
Which really makes it disrespectful when we hear the younger generation says we're not our ancestors.
How can we forget them?
That is so disrespectful, because we cannot even begin to imagine truly what it was that they had to endure.
People gave their lives up.
People had to go, and they held, like, trying to find a way. We had an experience that really brought to us this, what we're speaking about, what it was like for them to have to carry on and go through to be able to make it, for the fact that we exist. Like, they didn't, like, there's nothing. Let's not talk about, oh, this is where we live and this is what we have, da, 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 da. Let's just talk about the fact that we exist, that they was able to overcome all of these tumultuous situations in order to ensure our very existence. We are their wildest dreams.
And they pass us the torch. But most of us don't even understand that the torch was passed to us. Like, that's what the issue is. They were passing us the torch. And now most of us are afraid to take it, to even take the torch, to continue the journey of moving forward. Like, yo, I made a point in one of the classes, like when I was talking about like the history of our people. Like, in ancient times, you know, it's a story that said that we had already accomplished everything that could be accomplished on planet Earth, and we understood that it was time for us to move into the next dimension. But anytime it's, you know, that we are moving into another dimension, we're talking about rebirth, and our ancestors knew that the only way that we could be reborn, that we had to go back into the womb. Now, what is the womb symbolic of? Darkness. Like we was placed in this darkness. When a baby is in the womb, that baby is also in what can be looked at as a captivity. We was placed back in darkness and captivity. We have to understand that we re-entered the cosmic womb, and that's why everything about our story is, when are we going to be delivered? We are waiting on deliverance, family. from this bondage, from this captivity. And the water has broken. The water has broken. This is why we have been flooded with all of the information concerning who it is that we are now. Like our culture is returning, has returned to us once again. You know what I'm saying? But we are waiting to be reborn again. Like this is a cosmic pregnancy that's going on. And this is why I always say nature is in control. The universe is in control of everything that is happening with us on earth. We just have to get back in alignment with it. And this is why I always say the Bible say our people perish like for lack of understanding or the ability to have peace in the midst of a storm. Like that comes from wisdom, like awareness of what's going on, not being in the dark, but being in the light of understanding of what's truly going on earth. And that puts you in a place of understanding. I don't have to panic. It's not for me to panic. We just have to have understanding. This is what we are lacking, and this is why we are perishing, because we don't have it. So we're in a cosmic rebirth right now as a people, family.
And it's really interesting because if we look at, our community at large, we can see that we're trying to base things out of a straw house. They destroyed our foundation. And so now we're building our houses on straw. And so then we don't understand why we keep getting blown away when the storms come.
Right.
And then as time progresses and we start to awaken and coming out of our amnesia, we start to build these stick homes, right? These stick homes. But because we are being flooded by the information highway, we trying to take this piece of this and that piece of that and put it all together. And it's still not giving us the foundation.
Right.
That sturdy foundation, that foundation that is immovable, that immovable force. The ancestors are that's that cement. That's that root system that goes all the way to the core.
Down.
And this is what we're doing as we're moving into this ancestral reverence, as we're creating the cement of our lives to build this generational wealth. It can't happen any other way.
By remembering who it is that we are. Remember, put yourself back together again. Like this is what this is about. We are beginning to remember who it is that we are. And this is what they fear, because they don't want the gods to return to earth. They fear the gods returning to earth. So this is what this is about. Them trying to keep us in the state of not remembering ourselves. Family, this is what's going on.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me read something.
This is what's going on. But it's futile. They can't stop it. They can't stop it. And they know this. They can't stop it. This is happening now. Okay, she's looking for something that... You ready?
You can go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to read this, and then she's going to read something too. Your ancestors need you. It says, our ancestors blazed the trail, fights, and cut away the obstructions that blocks the road for each new generation. The things they endured, the hardships they overcame. Okay, let me get this off the screen. Okay, the hardships that they overcame, the challenges they faced and died for, made it possible for the lineage to continue. Facts, we were just talking about that. The trail is the path of honoring your spirits and your family. The path of wisdom, the path of work, and the path of forward movement. For the ancestors to move forward, they need your help. What was you about to say, or can I say something?
Go ahead.
And this is when, like in one of the classes I was building about, like this ain't something that can be done separately. You know what I mean? Like when we elevate, our ancestors elevate, like the both have to elevate together. We have to elevate together. You know what I'm saying? So we need each other, like for this elevation or this awakening or this resurrection that's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like we need one another for that. Like it's family. You know what I'm saying? Like the family can't be broken up. Like it's all for one and one for all. And this is why we have to understand this. And this is why earlier in the slide it was talking about just because someone leaves the body, like the goal, like we have to understand that that relationship still exists, that we are still family. We are still bonded. We still love each other. We are still there for each other. We still support each other. We have to understand this. Go ahead.
African religion is divided into three major divisions or levels of worship. The closest level of spiritual forces to man are the spirits of his deceased relatives, who are collectively known as his ancestors.
Number one.
The second level above the ancestors are the African saints or deities known in the Yoruba language as the Orisha, and among their Dahomean neighbors as the Vudu. The Orisha Vudu are national ancestors whose power is greater than that of their family ancestors, but they are not as close nor personally interested in the individual problems as are the family spirits. Above the Orisha Vudu is the worship of the supreme god, whom the Yoruba call Olorun. The Yoruba people of Nigeria, as well as those in Brazil, Cuba, Haiti, Trinidad, and the United States, all have altars or shrines for their families, ancestors, and separate the shrines for the great Orisha Voodoo. The Yoruba do not have altars or temples for the supreme god because they know that such a stupendous eternal power is too high and too fantastic for man to call down or deal with the petty human needs. So they salute Olorun every morning for controlling the universe, and then they go to worship their ancestors and their Orisha.
Yeah, so what's number one? The ancestors. There's no getting to know number two. Truly, if the work of number one is not done. Like, this is the most important. Like, our Elohim always tells us, like, the good things that we want in our life and all the things that we are praying for, if our ancestors say, then it's The ancestral work is first. And then we can, move and get into other, like the deities. Like we say in Yoruba, we say the Orisha. Like, this is getting into more of the universe. But everything is about taking steps. Like, we have to understand ourselves physically before we can understand ourselves as heavenly beings that don't go the other way. Like, it steps up. If we don't understand who we are as, like, within this body, if we don't understand our lineage, that which we descend from, like that which is within us, and once we understand that, then we can evolve. But this is the step of how it works. And so, yes, the ancestors are first. That's all you wanted to read on that?
Okay. I was going to say something else. I was actually going to say one of the things, like we were saying, we are in the information age.
Right.
So we are being flooded with all kinds of information. And generally speaking, when we come out of Christianity, because we have been taught to worship God and Jesus, these big deities, right? We tend to come into this way of life, into spirituality, also wanting to worship these big deities before we have the foundation of understanding our ancestors.
Because we was never taught that.
And interestingly enough, a lot of people tend to overlook or even ignore their personal ancestors for these bigger deities. But one of the main points in here is that these bigger deities have less personal interest in what's going on in your life. They have less personal interest in what's going on with your family.
Right.
They have less personal interest in repairing the damage, the traumas that have been passed down to us over generations.
Right.
And so we can't go beyond our ancestors like that. Again, this is our foundation. You cannot build a strong home without your foundation being strong. You know what I'm saying? And so that's one of the things that I just want to add on there.
It's our roots. That's who our ancestors are. Remember, once again, I know I say certain things over, you know what I mean? But we have to understand that when we talk about our ancestors, when we talk about our history, understand that we're talking about our root system. Earth is a garden. We are all growing, blossoming, blooming, and hopefully bear our fruit one day. But if that root system is weak, none of that is going to happen. No growth is going to happen. No blossoming and blooming and bearing of your fruit, which is living your purpose and fulfilling your destiny. That's not going to happen without the root system being strong, because that's where we draw up our nourishment from, to be strong enough to complete these other things. This is how this works.
The worship of our ancestors is called Ariku, Egun, or Igungun in Yoruba language. African people have always made a big deal over funerals, spending a lot of money and performing elaborate programs. Death is considered a form of graduation into a higher existence, where the spirit receives new enlightenment before returning in his family as a new baby.
Listen to that. Let me write that.
Good gracious.
Wait a minute, but that's important. I ain't want to miss it. The spirit receives new enlightenment before returning into the family as a baby. So
how many times have we asked, like, why do I have to go through this? Or why is it that, I can see this playing out in my family and then it's happening to me? Well, because nobody has been uplifting their ancestors. Nobody has been working on that elevation and that enlightenment. So we come back with the same traumas.
The same traumas. You know what I mean? We have to start bringing back the elevated ancestors. That's what we have to start doing. Like, we have to get our ancestors in a position of elevation so they can start returning into our families, into our bloodlines, those that are going to bring healing into our family, into our lineage, versus bringing those back that are still troubled, you know what I mean? And bring more of that into our family. Like we have to break that cycle. You have to break that cycle. And so the only way that can happen is through elevation. Through elevation, then we are able to bring elevated beings back to earth. Because that's like what's going on. And this is why they had us, like I say, honoring, and why they teach their kids about these so-called great people in their lineage, because they want these spirits to come back so they can continue what they was doing for the reason why they was considering them great. But the things that they considered them great for came from mostly atrocities that were being performed against us. You see how that worked? Even Jesus, that's a white ancestor. You have to understand that too. That's like, I ain't trying to offend nobody, but it's just, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? With the blonde hair and the blue eyes, like the way that they give it to us. You know what I'm saying?
It's purpose.
That's still like honoring someone that they say was a part of their lineage while they was on earth. So they got us honoring their ancestors, even with that. Like, we have to understand this.
But our ancestors are our greatest allies.
Right.
You want me to?
I got it. Are you good right
now? Go ahead.
Okay.
For now.
You're going to read both. Our ancestors are our greatest allies. The protection of the family is their honor. It is no secret our ancestors want to aid in our success, help us weather life's storm. Their participation and guidance is of the utmost importance. The ancestors want a relationship with us based on love, honor, and devotion. This devotion to them opens your heart, increasing your sensitivity to their presence. The ancestors of the Africans, the diaspora, tends not to be acknowledged or revered. This is what the problem is. This is to a great detriment to them and us as their descendants. And focusing on your ancestors, they are more inclined to pay attention and respond more quickly than when calling on bigger deities. What was you gonna say?
Oh, that's it.
Yeah, like we were just kind of talking about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're honoring everybody else's ancestors, and we're not taught to honor ours, but like this slide say, that's to our detriment that we're not honoring our ancestors. And we can see that, you know what I'm saying, by that aspect, or just our culture being taken in general. Like, this is why we are in the conditions that we're in right now, because we don't have no culture to follow. Like, even when me and Osuntola were just talking about, it's been a great flood, but we have to understand that can be a trick too, because when the people don't understand certain things, then you flood them with a whole bunch of information, and they still don't know which direction to go in. They still don't know. And this is why, we getting so much information purposefully, and a lot of it is misinformation. A lot of it is misinformation, and it still has us in this place of confusion and not truly understanding the work that has to be done to bring a correction to the damage that have been done to ourselves and our people. And this is why I always tell everybody to pick a path, like pick a road. Like, we have chosen Yoruba, Orisha worship, a path with elders in it to guide a system, a culture that has been intact for over 40,000 years. Wisdom being passed down, traditions and culture. Like, this is the African mind state. to receive that again. We can't just be out here floating over here this week and that week be over there. Like, no, like we have to have a focus.
And it's very interesting as well. Our Eolosha just explained to us the other day how we tend to integrate all kinds of different traditions into our practices.
And the alchemy don't be right.
And a lot of times what we're not even recognizing is that we're using Wiccan information calling on our African spirits. And so it's important to understand the differences in all these traditions and what is really your people's way, so that you can call them properly, so that they know that it's you, so that we can, like Conjure said, get out of this European state of mind and get back into our African mind.
Right. The path has already been laid, fam. We just have to pick a path.
It says,
and walk it.
Thus, in order for a good family spirit not to be lost in the spirit world, and so that it may use its out-of-body powers to aid those left behind, the Yoruba, like Africans everywhere, worship the spirits of their ancestors with regular offerings and maintaining a close offerings of food, prayers, parties, and ceremonies. For the African American interested in maintaining a close relationship with his family roots and recent dead, the following description. Okay, and that's when we're going to go ahead and get into setting up the sacred space.
Right.
But understand, all it takes is for us opening ourselves up. And then what our ancestors do, what the gon do, they be like, I'm ready, what we doing?
Right.
What are we doing?
Right. And you know what I realized, I just got to say it. A lot of us, even though we dip and dab and in what we call culture, a lot of us are still afraid of our own culture. A lot of us are still afraid of what comes with African culture. It's a fact. We don't want to commit to that. We still spooked. We done seen too many movies and we still spooked of our own culture.
And it's interesting, as you start to really learn about your culture, if you go back and look at those movies, you'll be like, oh, that was just my ancestors trying to come back.
Oh, now I see what, no.
Never mind, it's not even spooky. That's on point,
we have
actually.
to normalize it. We have to normalize it.
Please,
and it's so interesting for me personally. I remember growing up in Christianity, we called on Jesus all the time. Right? Ain't felt nothing. you call your grandmama or your grandfather and you see if you don't get chills all over your body.
I'm telling you,
on the spot.
Because they waiting. They're like, yo, y'all calling on all this other, you know what I'm saying? Call on us. Call our names. We the ones that's gonna show up.
And it's really an interesting thing too, because some of y'all people, I know some of my people was thugs. You know what I'm saying? So we got a problem. Right. We got issues out here in these streets. Right. Who you think I'm calling on?
Right. Like my grandfather, and honor to my grandfather. When my grandfather transitioned, he left our family 100 acres of land. He always took care of my grandma. He had 11 children. They never wanted for nothing. They had everything that they needed. He farmed the land. He was a great man, but my grandfather was a killer. He would kill you. You know what I'm saying? But he's still an elevated, honored ancestor to me, and that he's on my altar, and I call on his name because of all that he was able to accomplish in his lifetime, and the way that he took care of his family and his children in his lifetime, and the way that he was respected by everyone. You know what I mean? I'm calling on my grandfather. You know what I mean? That which is in me, in my blood, that I can conjure up when I need it. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking that it's something out there. No. Our ancestors, we are them. And this is what we have to understand. Remember, 7 generations back on the mother's side, 7 generations back on the father's side, we are a condensation of all of those genetics. Right now, we are them. We are only an extension. Look at it as a tree, steady growing and developing. That's what we are, an extension of this family tree. This is nature, y'all. We seeds in a garden. Okay, begin. Okay, this is talking about setting up the ancestral space. It says, begin inviting them into your home and in your life, asking them to reveal themselves to you. You will need a sacred space to do the work. It can be a tabletop or a shelf or even a floor.
So let me just say this as we move forward. If you decide, historically in African culture, the altars was placed on the floor. The floor actually deals with your African ancestors. Okay. Sometimes you may have it on the table though. So if you put your ancestors on the table, more likely than not, it's because your people put your ancestors on the table. If you put them on the floor, it's because your people put them on the floor. So again, remember what we were saying. This is so intuitively based.
You got to connect.
You have to connect to what is flowing through you.
Right.
Traditionally, in the Yoruba nation, if the ancestors was actually placed in the living room underneath the floor to actually placate them. So again, if your ancestors is on the floor, that's where they, like, your people worship them on the ground.
Right.
They're the closest, like, and understand in ancient times, sometimes in some cultures, the ancestors themselves was placed underneath the house.
Right.
So they going as close to the spirit as they possibly could get. You know what I'm saying? So these are just some of the things that we needed to understand. And if you either way, if you decide it's going to be on the table or the shelf because your people did it higher, or on the floor, there's no right or wrong. Again, I don't like right or wrong.
Just connect with how you feel about it.
Exactly.
Connect to how you feel about where your altar is, whether it's going to be up high on the table or low on the floor.
But let me just say this: no matter where you put them, they should be placed on a mat. And you should put them on a white cloth.
White cloth.
The white cloth is your protection.
And it cools the ancestors. Like, we want to deal with our cool
because we can't be ready for war every minute of every day.
Right. So always have a white cloth. Like, even if you have another cloth on top of the white cloth, you have to have that white cloth down first.
Yes, down first. You also, and we'll go through each of these as we go along.
Okay, photos are the physical reminder of your ancestors. If it were not for them, there would be no you. We was talking about that. Their presence on the altar is to worship, uplift, and venerate them. The reverence of your ancestors empowers them to grow in the power of love and devotion due to your dedication. They are a constant reminder of the power you hold. Just the acknowledgement of them empowers them. With each acknowledgement, they activate stronger within you. Feel their presence.
Absolutely. So, with pictures of your ancestors, of course, you can do pictures of your ancestors, but we have to remember that there should be no living ancestors in those pictures. So if you had a picture of somebody and you happen to be in that picture, you can make a photocopy and cut yourself out and put it on the altar. But you cannot put.
You can't mix the living with the dead.
You don't want to mix the living with the dead.
Okay.
Is that it? You have any? And of course, those are my people. So that's why the other week when Carol's like, "Those your folks? It looked like Conjure. How you didn't see this before? How you don't remember?" Anyway, talking junk.
It says candles serve to light the way for prayers, messages, and manifestation magic. They guide the way to the spiritual realm. They lead ancestors to you. They hold your intent, fueling the fire of it. They cleanse and purify energy. They reveal messages. Just about any magic you do can be fueled by candles. Candles can be utilized as an offering of elevation to your ancestors.
Now, let me just say this again, for those of you who are just starting out with ancestral reverence. For those of you who are just starting out, I would suggest only using white candles in the beginning, because when you start working with color, with color on your altar space, you're invoking those spirits to you.
Like colors draw in particular energies as well.
So for instance, if you like let's say you went and got a red candle, and that red candle is about fire and passion and even aggression, then as that candle is burning, you're going to notice that you're as yourself, or the energy in your home
can start being manifested. Like, it don't matter if the candle got whatever name it got on it, because we're talking about the color of the candle and understanding that, it's attracting energies, and we have to tie that into the fact that we are all melanated beings. You know what I mean? Our whole thing is the attraction, you know what I'm saying, of every cosmic force and every cosmic energy. Like, that's what melanin is. Melanin is a superconductor that attracts all cosmic forces.
It's easy for us.
It's like the easiest because we are the melanites. And so it's just about being careful and understanding like what you are doing, because remember, we have been flooded with so much information, but we don't have, most of us don't have the proper guidance with the information we're being flooded with. And this is why I say it's important to pick a road that you're going to travel, and make sure that road that you're traveling got elders and those that are wiser than you on it, and those that can enlighten you to things that you don't know or things that you thought you knew, that they can take you deeper into the understanding of it, because we got to get these things right.
And then in addition, like with the Etheric touch, one of the things we wanted to do is give you a foundation to get started with, so that you can start to navigate the spiritual realm until you do decide to choose a path, a particular path for you, if you decide to do that. However, even with that, like, one of the things that is very important is always making sure that we're telling you things and keeping you safe at the same time in the process of you learning, because again, because we're melanites, we are able to absorb, attract all kinds of energies to ourselves. And if we're not particular about certain things, these are the guidelines, then we have the ability to attract
mess ourselves up,
negative influences, negative energy towards us.
So we don't know what we're doing.
So please, if you're just beginning your altar work, again, I'm going to say it again. If you're just beginning your altar work, start with just white candles.
And trust me, none of us, like, we're not going to be no know-it-alls. Go ahead, Ayodele.
One thing about candles too that I'll share: clean them off, pull them stickers off.
Right.
Because you're blessing the dollar store or whoever by leaving all that information on there. Pull that off, clean them off. Just, sage the candle, cool water. Make sure that you take all the energy off of it before you put it on your altar.
Get their magic off of it. You know what I'm saying?
And you have to
put your magic in it.
And you have to even think the people that's handling it, not just like the stickers, but the people that's handling it, putting it on the shelves. Like, you don't know what these people are dealing with. So you definitely want to take the time to cleanse the candle prior to lighting it on your office.
And one thing that we have definitely been learning on our journey is the importance of our elders, like those that are extremely wiser than us, those that know more than our mind can fathom. Now, you know what I'm saying? Having access to that, those that are the carriers and the keepers of particular traditions, those that are custodians of particular traditions, so we can align ourselves with something that has already been proven to work, that has already been established. Because now most of us are all over the place because there's so much information. We jumping over there, we burning that candle, we doing it like this, we going off how we feel. Different things like that, and most of the times, a lot of times, they don't be correct. And so, like, we have to understand how to get this thing right. This is why our ancestors were able to do all of the things that we can look back and know for a fact they did, because they was doing things correctly. And we have to get back into knowing how to do things correctly. Okay. Water is a conduit of spirit. It is a means of travel. It opens the door so elevated spirits can come through. Water is the key to the spiritual doorway, allowing us access in, giving your ancestors access out. Rituals and ceremonies generally begin with the calling of the ancestors by pouring water libation for them. By adding sea salt, Himalayan salt, or Epsom salt, water can also be used to absorb and transmute negativity. Salt captures all negative energies around.
So one of the things that I wanted to mention here, when we started the class today, you heard me go through that short prayer, right? Omi tutu, ona tutu, ile tutu, tutu, igungu. What we are saying is cool water, cool roads, cool house, cool ancestors. Is that? Cool water is Omitutu. Onatutu is cool roads.
You want to read it?
Ile Tutu is cool house.
Ile
Tutu Igungun is cool ancestors.
Cool ancestors, yeah.
So and instead of trying to remember the language, because that's not where we are, right? We're beginning. You can say the actual words. Cool water, cool roads, cool house, cool ancestors.
Right.
Okay. Also, oops, let me go back. Well, I don't have to go back. Also, when set it on your altar space, you should have 9 clear glasses of water onto your
see-through
onto your altar space.
9 clear glasses of water.
9 clear glasses. You don't want water.
The color. No, clear glasses.
No plastic at all.
No plastic
all
glass.
Your all the things on your altars should be of the earth.
Right.
All the things should be of the earth. So glass, wood, clear for the water.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead.
No, you go. You got the like just things of the earth, like wood. No, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
And so as we move into food offerings, before he actually even gets into reading this, well, I'll let him read it first.
Okay, the food is essential to empowering. It is hot. The food is essential to empowering your ancestors. Your ancestors need to eat just as food provides sustenance for us. The essence of the food feeds the spirit. Giving the ancestors a meal opens communication with them. It establishes bonds with them. It fosters the relationship with them, just like with Sunday dinner at Big Mama's. The ancestors look forward to the meal and the time shared with them. When you begin to establish feeding your ancestors regularly, they will begin to make requests in the form of cravings. And so, yeah, our ancestors communicate like that. And this is why we say, like, we can't be on all this new age stuff like, you know, I eat clean now. I don't eat nothing but vegetables. I don't even know, like, we have to give the ancestors what it is they want, like the things that you know they ate. I don't care if it's pork chop, I don't care if it's pork ribs, the fried chicken, the mac and cheese, the whatever. You cook it for them, and a lot of times it can come through cravings that you have personally, even though you might don't eat something. Like Osuntola was telling you the story, how she, like one time she got the craving of the chitlins.
I'm just going to tell you right now, I've been craving nothing but hot dogs.
She's been craving hot dogs.
And I don't even eat hot dogs.
You know what I mean? All kind of things like that. But our ancestors communicate with us in these kind of ways to let us know, like, put this on the altar. This is what I want to eat. You know what I mean? Like, get it together. You know what I mean? Because this is what we want to eat. So this is also, again, about being in tune, like, and understanding, like, what's going on. Like, okay, because you can just be like, yo, why am I craving a hot dog? But you got to be able to take that to, okay, my ancestors, though. Somebody on this altar is craving that. Like, let me make sure I'm putting this on my altar. Somebody wants that.
Mm-hmm. And let me just say this as well. When you're feeding your ancestors, they should have their own dishware.
Their own
You
dishware.
can actually use, if you have, like, you know, the old folks used to have china. If you have china from your ancestors, you can use that china. But they need their own dishware. No plastic. Please do not put plastic or paper plates. None of that needs to go on the altar. They should have their own personal dishes.
It can be made out of wood.
It could be a saucer. It does not have to be a big plate. It could be out of wood, like Ifakunle was saying. Anything of the earth. And specifically, traditionally, those people who, some people would get their dishware and have a crack in it to make sure for the ancestors, like that's the indication that this is theirs. You know what I'm saying?
And our ancestors like dishes with little cracks in it for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But like, yeah, make sure they have their own personal dishware that no one living uses it. No one in the home.
Right. It's
none
theirs.
of that. It's theirs.
And
you
so
keep
that
it
little
separate.
So that little chip or crack in the mug or the dish is letting it be known that it's theirs.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That nobody else is to use it.
You don't want to mix that up either.
You must have heard me talking about you, Carol.
It was all good though.
Incense and resin.
All love. Okay. Incense represents the element air. Air is mind, thought, and intention. Air allows for communication and the ability to breathe life into your prayers. They are also the carrier of messages. Certain resins, incense carry stronger vibrations than other. For example, frankincense, myrrh, what's that? Copal, cedar, or cleansing agents, while lavender or rose can be used to calm energies down or sweeten up situations.
So even with the incense, again, remember, like, all of this is intuition. All of this, we're talking about intuition now, right? So let's say, I wouldn't, but let's say you go to the Arab store and you get you some polo incense because you like that. You know what I'm saying? Your folks be like, that shit stink.
Right.
Don't put that over here.
Right.
I don't like that.
Even though you might be liking it.
You know what I'm saying?
So this is still about you connecting.
So the incense and the resins is because the spirits actually like nice smells.
Right.
And it attracts them to what it is you're doing. It attracts the elevated spirits to what you're doing. So if you place an incense on your altar and it go out, they don't like that.
They don't like
and don't reburn it.
Take that off.
Take it off. That's not what they want.
Right.
And then you try another one. But this is this is intuition. This is intuition. So how you gonna know they don't like it unless you put it on there to see if they like it? You know what I'm saying?
Just tune in. This is about being tuned in to what you are doing, and spirit will communicate with you.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to really be tuned in to what we're doing. Our ancestors will communicate. Yes. You know what I mean? They'll let us know in some kind of way. But we have to be tuned in. Like, it can't be something mindless that we're doing. Oh, I got this also. Let me go throw the water like it and get on out the house. No. It's about a connection, a bond, a communication going on between us and them. It's like it's not shallow. Like, this is deepness. This is devotion. Words like that.
Absolutely.
Ayodele, I think.
Go ahead, Ayodele.
I'm trying to unmute this thing. That is for real. The love and attention and energy that you give them, then they're going to give it back to you threefold. So why be stingy?
Right.
Don't be stingy. If I got $5 and they say they want something that costs $5 and it's my last, they're going to get it.
They're going to get
it. Time.
Without a flex or anything. Like, as a matter of fact, I was taught anytime you're dealing with spirit, give them the high shelf, the most quality thing that you can find for them.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, it's deep, y'all. It's deep. The more you give them, the more you're strengthening them.
Right.
So you want them strong. You want them fat and happy.
Because they're gonna work for you, making sure you good, and you have
and
all
if
that
it's
you need.
If it's something specific, like my uncle in my ear for the past 2 weeks, because I didn't get him his Coors Light, and he told me light. He wanted Coors Light.
Light specifically.
Light. Now, if I bought something else in here, I know I'm gonna have to hear about it.
Right.
So give, y'all. It's like fueling your own spiritual battery. It's like I'm trying to give you the words to see how deep it can be.
Sometimes you can't put things in words.
Sometimes
but we feel you though.
You have to experience it.
Right.
I say.
Spirits and tobacco. Go ahead.
Okay. Alcohol played an important role in ancient rituals. It was offered as a libation and would accompany the deceased on their final journey or play a role in rites of passage or the cycles of life or for the season. For example, it could also induce mystical intoxication among the Fela people and Fali people in Cameroon. Millet beer, known as Bolo, is a festive drink that features in every ritual. They use it to warm up the body during initiation ceremonies. It can be an offering and help people make contact with their ancestors and with supernatural powers. The shamanic ritual uses other psychotropic beverages to access the afterlife and make contact with the spirits, as is the case with ayahuasca, a drink made from vines in the Amazon rainforest. Spirits, alcohol represents power. It increases the ability for spirits to come through and work with you. Tobacco appeases the spirit. Utilizing tobacco is a sign of respect. It can be offered for help, guidance, and protection.
So if your people like to drink, give them some liquor.
Right.
If your people like to smoke, it don't matter if you like to smoke or not. It don't matter. You could be like, you know what, that stinks. It don't have nothing to do with you.
Yes, right.
It
Them
really
ancestors love it.
If they were smokers, give them smoke. If they like trees, give them some trees, yo. Like, it does not matter.
And
it
the thing about the spirit, if you can see to them say, like the spirit, alcohol also has the ability to give the ancestors ashe, power. We have to understand that. It gives the ancestors ashe, power. And so we have to understand the importance of why these things are, you know, a part of the altar setup. It's not just because this makes it pretty, and no, like this is for specific reasons, and we have to understand these specific reasons so we can truly tap in. But to truly tap in, we have to be doing things correctly. This is a science. This is a science that has been proven.
I want to just add on one more thing to the altar space before we move forward, and that's Journey has spoke about it earlier in the class, about flowers and plants.
Flowers and plants.
Okay. First of all, they love flowers and plants. Okay. Offer them flowers and plants. Why? It draws on the energy. It draws them to the energy, and then it revitalizes them. It actually is feeding them energy as well. Your plants are. So when she said I have them named after certain ancestors, she was on point. She's empowering her ancestors by naming her plants after them. And so everything has to be made from the earth. So again, like when you're working with your altars, like allow yourself to allow this to be something that is living. You know what I'm saying? Something that is not just like, you know, a statue or an award that you just walk by it. Or this is a living entity in your home. And so they're gonna speak to you. They're gonna guide you. They're gonna show you certain things. You have to really have confidence in what it is that you're feeling, seeing, hearing. Again, it might just be, I'm sitting here, you know, I haven't had no, you know, I'm not in the mood for no liquor, haven't drank in however long, but suddenly I have a craving for a specific type of a specific type of liquor. Put the spirits on their altars.
But make sure you drink you a little bit before you sit there and pour it. However you want to do it. Fill that little cap up, hit that back. You know what I'm saying?
Be afraid at all to partake in the same things that you're giving to them when you're feeling drawn to.
Because they want that. Anyway, you know what
unless there's like, and I'm not saying this for people who have addictions or anything like that. If you have an addiction, you have to stay away from it. Understandable. You know what I'm saying? Do what is best for you. But if you like, in generally speaking, you are more than welcome to partake, and it is encouraged for you to partake. This is the relationship. How's Conjure gonna be around here and I'm not acknowledging him being around here, or we're not eating together, we're not drinking together? It's the same thing with your altars.
And in most cases, they want you to hit whatever you're going to give them first. Then you place it. Then you give it. Then you give it. If it's honey, then you hit that honey. Like whatever it is. Okay, it says your altar space is and we almost done, y'all. It says your altar space is a sacred space to convene with your ancestors, to begin building a relationship with them. It is essential to spend time in front of your altar, whether it is for your meditation, your sound therapy, your qigong, or even just for conversation about what's going on in your life. When you sit before your altar, you are essentially sitting before your ancestors and engaging with spirit. As you call on the benevolent spirits of your lineage, pour libation, water, begin by giving them thanks for who they are, for all they have done for you, for the sacrifices they have made. These words serve to open the door of your heart to those who came before you, to invite them to reveal themselves to you. The prayers to your ancestors do not have to be fancy or even preachy, and this lifestyle intent is everything.
Ashe. So one of the things that we want you to understand, one of the things I would like for you to really understand is that now you have a place to meditate in. Now you have a focal point. You know what I'm saying? Now you have like a cell phone, a direct communication to your relatives. I always think it's not distant necessarily, but I think about the spiritual realm as being communications with my distant relatives,
And
right?
just think about that. Cell phones. And our ancestors lived within our, like, what do you do with your cell phone? You reach out and you call someone. We're talking about ourselves on a cellular level. This is how we reach out to them. This is where the word cell phone comes from, because they know it's a cellular genetic thing, like how we have this ability to reach out to our ancestors, to reach out to the universe, to reach out to all things truly. This is who we are. We communicate with this universe. We're in constant communication with. From a cellular level, it's who we are.
And so one of the things that I also like to encourage people is to have regular conversations.
Right.
Like, don't feel like it has to be the way it was in the church. You know what I'm saying? It does not have to be preachy when you're sitting here talking to them. Anything that's going on in your life, you can just have a regular. I'm talking to you regular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I talk to him regular. And my God sister Naru, I talk to y'all regular. They want you to talk to them like they were here.
What up, Aunt? You want something? Aunt, you want to hit this right here?
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like we know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like the family members that we knew that transition, like we know how they are. Like we know how, like, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not to change that. Like when you go to Big Mama house, you're gonna, even if she's still here, you're gonna show her respect. Hey, grandma, you're gonna make sure the first one she speak to. Like it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Right. It says spend some time in silence. The practice of meditation is key, as it teaches you how to quiet your mind and access spirit. And mastering this practice, you learn the difference between your ego and when spirit is speaking. Many messages will reveal itself through meditating with your ancestors. You will begin to develop your own communication style with your ancestors. Ultimately, this is the beginning of learning the language of the gods. And that's one of the classes that we're going to go deeper into what we're talking about when we say the language of the gods. Okay.
So one of the things I just want to make sure that we emphasize is that the more you do this, the more influence they have. Right. The more you continuously go to them, the more they open themselves up to you, the more they reveal themselves to you, the more they navigate for you in your life.
Right.
One of the things our ELOSHA says is that they see so much further than we do.
So much further.
They see they only be giving us little bits and pieces
still inside of these
because
bodies.
We can't deal with it.
Constraint right now.
We constraint, exactly. But the more you do this practice, the more you devote yourself to the practice. And I say devotion because this is something that we love to do. Right. You love grandma, you love grandpa, you love talking to them, you love their food, you love auntie, you love sitting on their knee, you love sitting at their feet, you love laying your head on their lap. Right. Same thing applies. The more you do this, the more they open themselves up to you and reveal themselves to you. And this is ultimately what they want. They want to help us. Right. They want to help us. And it's in their best interest as well as ours for the repair work that needs to be done.
It's teamwork.
It's teamwork. Make the dream work.
Always make the dream work.
You know? So I just want to make sure I keep saying that to y'all. Keep going to your altars. Keep offering the food. Keep thanking them for their accomplishments and what they've already done. Let this be your practice.
Let this be your practice. Let this be your way of life.
Don't let your food be on that altar for weeks at a time. Right. Would you eat food from weeks at a time? Why would you do that to them?
Dirty water.
Don't just put water on in any old vessel and give it to them. You know what I'm saying? Show them respect. Show them honor. You know?
Honor. And this is how we honor ourselves at the same time. Like, even though we say our ancestors are going off into the spirit realm, but genetically, we are them here right now on earth. So where have they really gone? You know what I'm saying? Like, think about that. Like, we say they are gone, but their genetics live, and you know what I mean, and are vibrating or are alive inside of us right now. And this is why we are one with them.
And make sure
we are our ancestors.
And make sure the water that you place on your altar is cool. Don't give them no hot water.
Cool water.
Cool water.
Cool water.
Cool water. We already have enough aggression within ourselves. Okay, we already have enough aggression.
Okay. Okay. It says, though it is important to be consistent in the practice of honoring your ancestors, it is equally important not to approach this practice as if it is a chore. The energy you put into working with your ancestors is the energy you will receive. It is a waste of time to sit before your sacred space without true love and devotion, and really can be seen as an act of disrespect, which ultimately will reverse the work you have put into it. It is from the love of your transition loved one that invigorates them to walk with them or with you. I think that might be worded wrong.
Yeah, but either way, no.
Yeah, but we were just talking about that. Like,
right?
It's intentional.
We must be intentional. We must
Intentional.
do this with a love for it.
Right.
Let this become your passion.
Let this be your lifestyle.
First of all, you know, for me personally, I'm just sitting here like, yo, what was life like without them? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't even remember what life was like without them in it. You know what I'm saying? They have, like, I love them so much. They have shown me so much in my own life. You know what I'm saying? So it is important. It is important to devote yourself to this practice. Don't get frustrated.
Devotion to yourself.
Don't get frustrated. Be gentle with yourself.
Because this is a devotion to yourself. This is a devotion to who it is you are.
And our Eolosha is constantly saying, yo, the ancestors is who you can mess up with because they're here to teach you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're here to teach you how to do this. They're here to teach you.
More lenient.
They're more lenient with the screw ups that we have because these are your folks.
But people want to run to these higher deities that don't play, that don't have that same leniency. They don't have that. And then you're going to find yourself messed up because these higher beings don't have that leniency for you. These deities that we like to run to and not do things correctly until they come into your life and just mess everything up because you ain't dealing with them correctly. Your ancestors ain't like that. They want you to, like, they're going to be more lenient until you eventually get it right, but you want to get it right.